time debt is financial slavery? Would you say yes or no, or what do you think? Yes or no? Okay, I see a lot of yeses, and I see bad debt. Okay, good. And I see some. And the right answer is obviously it depends. That's like the answer to almost every financial question. To just sort of give you the the Cliff Notes version. Yeah. Basically, financial questions don't typically have a yes or no answer. It's usually like, well, it depends. It depends on the circumstances. It depends on what's happening, right? So if I said, would you be willing to walk outside in front of your house in your underwear? The answer shouldn't be yes or no. You should first say, well, what's in it for me, right? Like, if I gave you $10 million to walk outside of your house in your underwear, a lot of you would be stripping naked, right, before I finish my sentence, right? And I know I would. I'd be out there streaking like a mug. I'd be the most naked person in the entire neighborhood. I wouldn't care. Just send me to jail a couple of days. I got 10 million in the bank. I'm gonna be all right. But anyway, so nobody's getting naked today though, so don't get excited. All right, so let me let's talk about this question. Is debt financial slavery? Because a lot of us, uh, you know, we hear these conversations, and you hear people sort of talk about debt in a certain way. And I'm going to share with you all a video that I put on my Instagram. My Instagram's Dr. Boyce Finance. Every day I'm always having, conversations, controversial, interesting, just stuff, whatever is going on in the world. I like to involve myself in a lot of that because you'd be amazed how many things don't appear on the surface to be economic conversations. But once you follow the money, you realize that it is an economic conversation. We just didn't know it. And so let me pull this up. I'm going to play this little clip for you. I put it up this morning, and I thought it was really cool. And just so you know, for the record, I really like the actor Kevin Spacey. I don't get me wrong. I think somebody accused him of something that wasn't cool, and I get it. If he really did some uncool stuff, he should get penalized for that. But I just kind of feel like the man should still have a job if he's good at his job. But maybe I don't know. But anyway, here's Kevin Spacey, and he used to do the show called House of Cards. And here's a soliloquy from House of Cards that. Oh wait, I'm sharing the wrong. I'm sharing myself. That's so narcissistic of me. All right, so let me stop sharing really quick so I can do this right. All right, so now I'm going to share another screen. All right, hold on. See, this is bad. I get my screens mixed up. By the way, a lot of you were there last night when we did stock options training. If anybody missed it and wants to see the recording, just go to drboyceprime.com. We had a lot of fun last night. And if you were there, say something in the chat. Let everybody know how great it was. And in terms of what you actually learned, we actually have stuff that you can apply today that will actually make money today in the market today, real money today. So feel free to take a look at that, drboyceprime.com. All right, so let me play this for you really quick. All right, here we go. This is Kevin Spacey. Give me a yes if you can hear this. I believe I shared my sound. If I didn't, then I'm going to need to know. So just give me a yes to know if you can hear it. All right, here we go.
People don't understand how credit works. Let me explain. Credit is debt. Rich people borrow money to buy things that make them more money. Poor people use credit to buy things that lose money over time or even cost them money. If the thing you're buying doesn't put more money in your pocket, never buy it on credit. Here's something that poor people don't realize, okay? Debt is modern-day slavery. Someone else is entitled to the fruits of your labor until that debt is repaid. The moment you get in debt, you're enslaving yourself until you buy back your freedom with interest. That's why they send you the credit card for free in the mail. That's why they allow you to pay it in installments. The sooner they get you and the longer the payout period, the more money you'll make them. That's why they made student debt a thing. If you don't have enough money to buy it in cash, you cannot afford it. You need to act your wage. Okay, as harsh as it might sound, just because you can afford the monthly payment doesn't mean you can afford the item. People don't understand how credit works.
Let's listen to this one more time because I want you to meditate on what's being said here because it's quite true. And I'm going to break this down for you. So here it goes. I'm going to play it again while I chew my watermelon. Here you go.
Let me explain. Credit is debt. Rich people borrow money to buy things that make them more money. Poor people use credit to buy things that lose money over time or even cost them money. If the thing you're buying doesn't put more money in your pocket, never buy it on credit. Here's something that poor people don't realize, okay? Debt is modern-day slavery. Someone else is entitled to the fruits of your labor until that debt is repaid. The moment you get in debt, you're enslaving yourself until you buy back your freedom with interest. That's why they send you the credit card for free in the mail. That's why they allow you to pay it in installments. The sooner they get you and the longer the payout period, the more money you'll make them. That's why they made student debt a thing. If you don't have enough money to buy it in cash, you cannot afford it. You need to act your wage. Okay, as harsh as it might sound, just because you can afford the monthly payment doesn't mean you can afford the item.
All right. So, did everybody see that? Let me know if it came through okay, if it made sense to you. All right, I played it twice. Not just because I wanted us to really take it in, but also because I had to finish chewing my watermelon. So, all right. So here's what I want you to understand about that video. I thought it was quite powerful, and so let me kind of break it down for you. What he's really talking about is the difference in the perception of debt between wealthy people and poor people, and the simple answer to that, the simple response, is that for wealthy people, debt is used to make them more money. For poor people, debt is used to acquire things that they want, right? And that's something that we kind of I hope we kind of understand that. We've talked about how debt can create an asset. Assets generate income. So you're making so there's some many cases where the acquisition of debt, the use of debt, makes you wealthier. Like last night, we were talking about stock options, and I laid out a simple plan where I said, look, if you can raise a hundred and something $1,000 and go buy some shares of this particular stock, I gave you the stock. We talked about it, SATS, the satellite company. I said, and then you have some other capital, $50,000 over here. You can set that up and create nearly $10,000 a month in pretty consistent income by selling the options on that using the stuff we talked about last night. And someone asked, they said, well, should I go and get a HELOC? No, I don't give investing advice ever. But I did say, if you did that, I wouldn't necessarily blame you. I wouldn't call you stupid because what you've basically done is what wealthy people do. You went out and you got debt to make an investment. This is what Elon Musk does. This is what Mark Zuckerberg does. This is what a lot of people do. Now, someone says I'm cutting in and out, which is now making me a little insecure. Am I going in and out? Okay, hold on. Give me a second, everybody. Let me see if I can. It might be a Wi-Fi issue, so let me see what's going on here. All right. Okay. Give me a second. 1 second. Let's see here. Let me try to switch my Wi-Fi here. Okay. All right. Come on, Wi-Fi. Where you at? All right. Hold on. This is so frustrating when it happens. Yeah, badly. Okay. Thank you for telling me. I didn't know that. All right, so let me try it again. Let me try to switch Wi-Fis. All right. Okay, so now I switch Wi-Fis. Does that sound different at all, or does it sound the same? Let me know if it sounds the same or if it sounds different. Does it sound better? Give me a yes if it sounds better. Smoother? Okay, better. All right, great. So it must be a Wi-Fi issue. I didn't know. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought my Wi-Fi was good. All right. So what speed is my home Wi-Fi? Yeah. That I don't know, Tasman. I'm gonna look into that. So thank you for telling me. But yeah, so let's get back on track again. All right, so let me I know you might have missed some of what I said earlier about debt, so let me go ahead and break it down again for you. So in terms of debt and the use of debt, generally speaking, wealthy people use debt in a way that helps them make more money. And if they don't make more money, then that means the debt was used badly, right? So like just last night when we were talking about stock options and someone asked me, would you borrow money to pursue this strategy? And I said, personally, I absolutely would, because I think that taking on debt to acquire an asset is a really powerful way to make money. In fact, you should train your children on this at an early age. because when you go to college, all you're doing is you're acquiring an asset. College is nothing more than an asset acquisition process where you're going to school and you're acquiring what they call human capital. Human capital means now I'm smarter. I've got this piece of paper and now I can go work and make money. The problem with human capital is that you need human beings to work in order for that capital to generate wealth or income for you. And that's very, very stressful. Working's hard. It takes a long time. It takes up a lot of your time. A lot of years on your earth, on this earth, are sacrificed for you to make that income. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's absolutely criminal that that's the only way that some people know how to make money. It's absolutely horrible. And so if you learn how to acquire capital in another way, like just last night, a lot of you saw this. If you were in there, let me know if you were there in class. We were there 2 hours last night, and I just said, okay, here's a stock. If I buy this many shares and I sell the options, and then I have this much capital, I can sell some calls and sell some puts, and then I'm making $9,300 a month. What is that? That is income being generated through a capital acquisition process. I get the capital, even if whether I own it or borrow to obtain it. I use the capital to generate income, and then now I'm making $100,000 a year, right? And so my point is to say that debt is not bad, but debt is used in a terrible way in some contexts. And so what I want you to kind of think about is like three different categories of stuff that you might acquire through the use of debt. I would say maybe three quick categories. I just sort of framed this in my head a few minutes ago in terms of how to talk about it. So I may get it wrong, but let me see if I can do this properly. You would have wants, needs, and assets. Things you want, like a Gucci belt or a new pair of shoes or a Cadillac Escalade. Needs, maybe you have to take on debt to buy groceries or take on debt to get medication, in which case I definitely am praying for you because that's not fair. And then you have assets. I'm going to take on debt so I can buy a building and rent out space in the building. I'm going to take on debt so I can acquire a business, and that business is a cash flow generating business, right? So in the category of assets, debt is fine. Doing your due diligence is what really matters there because you have to manage the risk, make sure you're not going into something crazy. Taking on debt for needs means that you've got to shift your strategy because that means you can't afford to even exist in the lifestyle that you feel that you should have, or the like. But then again, if you're talking about getting medication and food, I mean, you can't talk yourself out of that. Like it's not like you can keep cutting your budget till you don't have to eat anymore. That's crazy. And this is the unfair part of America. You have millions of people who have to borrow money just to get basic stuff. That's the pimping of capitalism. That's the trick of capitalism. That's the dirtbag part of capitalism that you've got people that are stuck in that spot. However, if you are in that spot or you know people in that spot, then that means you have to have a different strategy for survival. That's where you're at a point where you got to start thinking about little things that a lot of people aren't trained to think about. Like if I'm struggling, I'm a single mom, I'm trying to pay bills, I got to go into debt to buy groceries. I'm not gonna let no man come up and lay up in my bed with me without understanding his assignment in terms of helping this household survive. Or if I'm a man, I'm not gonna be out here chasing tail from some pretty girl who's gonna drain all my money when I'm borrowing money just to get by. That doesn't make any sense, right? So this is where little strategies like how you live, who you live with, who you kick it with is extremely important. I can't afford a drug addiction because I can barely get food. I don't have enough money to go and blow it at the club and try to keep up with stupid trends if I'm barely getting by, right? So that needs space is hard, but that would require some sort of adjustment, right? The want space just means you just have to know maybe you don't, maybe this stuff is not something that you need. Why do you want it? What makes you want that? What makes you want to go pay $300 for, for an outfit? What makes you want to spend or to overspend on something that you could do without? Why do you have to have an Escalade? Maybe you can get something different. I had a great conversation with a great man the other day who was he had the truck payment that was really high, and it was like $1,600. And I said, man, you must really like trucks. And again, I didn't judge it. I didn't judge it at all because to be between us, he actually could afford that payment. Why? Well, because I saw how much he was making. He was generating $4,000 or $5,000 a month in stock options. I said, so I'm not here to tell you not to get the truck. He said, no, 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 Dr. Boyce, I want to get rid of the truck because I want to do more with my investments. I said, okay, so now you have your purpose. Now you know what you want to do, which is far more important than me telling you what you want to do. I'm not here to tell you what you want to do. You tell me what you want to do, and I can tell you how to do it. You understand? You tell me what your goal is, and I can help you get there, but I'm not here to tell you what your goal needs to be. I can give you the options, I can help you lay out the menu, but the desire to make a certain move or go in a certain direction has to come entirely from you, or it's not going to be sustainable. So ultimately, when you're talking about the use of debt, debt is used in an almost criminal fashion in the United States. It's used to pull people into various forms of slavery. And I'm gonna give you some stats to help you kind of understand where that comes from and why it sort of happens in that particular way. Um, so first thing I want to mention really quickly is Chanel's in the chat. I don't know if Amani's here. I didn't see Amani, but I know Chanel's here and she's on our team. So she can answer any questions you have about anything going on in the Black Business School. Also, she's got that discount code if you want to join us for our new stock options cohort. It's called COIN, the Certified Options Investing Network. It's 12 weeks long. You learn options from A to Z. One membership feeds the whole family. Your whole family can share this same membership, and you have access to the material, the slides, everything for life. And so we start on Thursday at 8 o'clock. So feel free to click that link, and you can participate in our next cohort. All right, thank you, Chanel, for sharing that. I appreciate that very much. All right, so with that said, let's talk about debt a little bit deeper in terms of sort of ways to contextualize this. Let me give you some stats really quick about what's going on with debt in America and why debt is such a big problem and such a trap. The average American household carries around $7,951 in credit card debt, according to the Federal Reserve. Interest rates are now averaging about 21%, which can keep people in debt for decades, and not just years. There's a massive student loan crisis. 43 million Americans owe a collective 1.6 trillion in student loans. And let me tell you why student loans have become bad debt. They've become bad debt for this reason. Let me show you with an experiment. How many of you feel that your college degree was worth the amount of money that you're being forced to pay to have that degree? Give me a yes or no. Yes or no. How many of you feel like your degree, like, okay, this was really worth it? The amount of debt I went into was worth what I got at the end. Some of you will say yes, and I'm happy for you. Some of you will say no. The ones who say yes will either be those who have professions that have generated the level of income that you've been looking for or the level of satisfaction, or two, your debt level was kept low because you got a scholarship or something like that. But those who took debt, I guarantee you, and if they took massive amounts of debt, probably aren't happy with that. So student loans become bad debt, not because college is bad and not because borrowing for college is bad. Student loans become bad debt because the amount that you borrow is not worth it when you compare it to what you gain. Right? Student loans become bad debt because the economic weight you have to carry to get that degree is heavier than it should be. The universities, when they realized that that you could sign a piece of paper and they could go get money from the government to pay for your tuition, they were more than happy to sign you up. And also, they were gassing you up, right? And then they were taking the prices and pushing them up. As soon as they realized that they were able to get most Americans and basically forced them to pay whatever they could pay that the government would cover the tab. They said, okay, but let's increase tuition. They had some of the largest tuition increases in American history, largely because the debt was available. So now you've got millions of people that are stuck in student loan debt. So debt itself is not bad. It's when debt is used for the wrong purpose that it becomes bad. And the real sinister crime of debt is when someone, and this is pimping 101, is when someone sells you a consumer item, right? So I am Louis Vuitton, and I go make my purse in China for $20, and then I bring it to Europe, and because Europe has a law that says that I can say it's made in Italy if the last thing done on the item was done in Italy, right? Then I can officially say it was made in Italy. So I make 99% of the purse in China. It gets shipped to Italy. It costs $20 to make it in China. It gets to Italy, and then all I got to do is I have my people in my factory put the zipper on the purse. That's it. The whole purse is done. They just got to put the little extra zipper on the side pocket on the purse, so that officially the last adjustment on this item was done in Italy. So now I can say made in Italy, right? And I can take the price from $20 to 1,000. And then I take that, ship that to the United States where people are addicted to spending money, and I put it in in some fancy store, and I use all the techniques to sell a luxury item, and somebody walks in and they pay $1,000 for the purse. But they don't just pay $1,000 for the purse. That's bad enough. They actually pull out the credit card to pay for the purse, right? Because credit cards, something about whipping out the credit card looks like a status symbol. A lot of people don't carry $1,000 in cash on them. So you pull out the credit card, and now you're in debt. But you're in debt. Um, how can I say this? You're in debt to pay off an illusion. Do you understand? Like they sold you an illusion, and but the debt is real. The money's real. But you're giving real money to pay for something that's basically cover your kids' ears, because I gotta be, I'm gonna say it for what I'm really thinking in my head. It would be called a mind fuck. That's what they did. They made a $20 purse, sold it to you for 1,000. Now you're $1,000 in debt, and you're paying on this purse for the next 10 years, and because you got the satisfaction of knowing that you've got this Louis Vuitton purse or whatever, right? So that's the worst type of debt. That's the most sinister, because what then happens is you go into financial slavery, and you are forced to go to work every day to pay off, these items that don't have the value that matches what you're giving. So you're engaging. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about this in his book, Powernomics. His website is powernomics.com. I think everyone should go get copies of Dr. Anderson's books. And if you're doing well, I hope that you'll buy extra copies and give them away to people in the community, give them away to your family members, give them away to your kids, give them as gifts. Like, this man deserves this. He's an amazing human being. He talks about this in terms of Africa, and he calls it the doctrine of unequal exchange. The doctrine of unequal exchange is where you and I trade, and what I get from you is worth far more than what you get from me. And he says this is how the Europeans were able to financially pillage Africa, and it's also how Europeans financially pillage African Americans. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. So when you talk about debt, debt itself is not the demon. It is when someone gets you to take on debt for something that doesn't make a lot of sense. Here's the last point on debt I want you to understand. If I take on debt and I acquire a revenue generating asset that builds wealth for my family over a long period of time, then that means I've taken on this burden of some type of, you could call it, you could still call it financial slavery or servitude, but it's okay to be in servitude because I'm the beneficiary of my service. Do you understand? Like, it's all, hard work is okay if my family benefits from my hard work. Hard work is okay for you if you're the beneficiary of the hard work. Nothing wrong with that. That's good. Do that. Bad debt is when your financial servitude is for the economic benefit of somebody else. You understand? So if I'm busting my butt and going to work every day so I can pay off a Louis Vuitton purse and a Gucci bag and a Mercedes and whatever, then I'm working extremely hard and my wealth is not going up because I'm so deep in the hole. But all of my masters that I'm serving, the Mercedes master over here, the Louis Vuitton master over there, the other masters the masters that sold me clothes in the mall, all of my masters get richer because I'm working myself to death. I'm working myself into an early grave. Do you understand the difference? Does that make sense? That's the difference between bad debt and good debt. And so the question to ask you when it comes to debt is, are you the master of your own fate? Are you your own master? It's okay to have a master as long as the master's name is you. But the problem that many of us get stuck into is that we someone else becomes our master, and this starts early. This is why in the Black Business School, our Black Core of Three is that Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, support Black-owned businesses. It doesn't mean you don't send your kids to school, but it means you have to play a really powerful role in the education of the kids and the grandkids. These ideas, these things that I'm talking to you guys about, they don't teach this in public school because you don't really, capitalism doesn't work if you have 300 million people that understand and have internalized these ideas. And what's really amazing is that, and this is why we focus on economic culture, even if people know the right thing to do, they still don't do it. Right. So you have to form habits around what you want to be. Like you become whatever you do consistently. You become what you do consistently. So this is why we don't have class once a month. We meet every morning. We talk every day. And I started talking every day about 2 years ago. I said, because our challenge, the demon we're trying to fight is not knowledge. Because I've been talking about finances for 25 years online. I've been in this. I've been doing this. Knowledge has always been available to you ever since Google came along, and you can Google search whatever you want. It ain't the knowledge, it ain't access to knowledge that's the issue. It's habit formation. It's culture. It's repetition. It's what you do every day. It's the training of your subconscious mind. That's the culprit. When I was fat years ago, it wasn't like I didn't know how to lose weight. I had a whole freaking PhD. 10 years ago, I'd had a doctorate for 12 years. So I wasn't stupid. I knew what to do. It was my habits that were the issue. So one of the things I'm going to tell you right now is when it comes to being successful or doing anything you want to do, you will become whatever you do every day. Your life will be the result of what you do consistently. So when you talk about this thing with debt, capitalism's always going to work because either one, people don't know, they're not trained on it at an early age, and or two, they never form the habits of actually implementing the things that they learn. Look at how many people you see who will sit around and listen and take in the information and say, that's right, that's true, that's right, and then do the same damn thing they was doing before. You see it every Sunday in church. Churches don't really, let's just be honest. I love my black pastors, but you know that to keep that money flowing, they don't hold nobody accountable. They don't say, are you really practicing the things that we're preaching every Sunday? It's like, no, I'm going to listen, jump up and down, get excited, and then I'm going to spend the rest of my week being ratchet, and then I'm going to come in and ask for forgiveness, and you're going to forgive me because I'm going to put money in the collection plate. That's what it is. That doesn't lead to progress. That doesn't change anything. You have to have some degree of discipline and accountability. You have to have some process that leads to habit formation so that you can truly see the adjustments that you want to see in your life. So when it comes to debt, debt is one of the culprits. Student loan debt is one of the biggest reasons that black wealth is not going up. Most of y'all have really, the black community has really played a massive role in the funding of these big white institutions that don't even hire black people. Believe me, I'm a college professor. I know how most of these universities don't hire black professors, and some of them don't even admit black students anymore now that they don't have to. They'll bring you if you're on the basketball team or the football team, they love to have you. Why? Well, because you become an income generating asset. But if you are just a black biologist or a black professor of social work, they're not so interested in having you. But yet they extract tremendous amounts of money from the black community. And then a lot of them go and they'll gentrify a black neighborhood with that money. They'll go literally buy up the whole block around the school because they want the white kids to be safe. It's a real sinister thing. It's absolutely sinister. So what I would say is that if you want to know how to sort of apply this and move this forward, think about your life, think about your choices, think about debt. Any debt that you take on, debt is not the devil. Debt can liberate you, or debt can enslave you. It's up to you to decide how you're going to play that game. Okay. All right. Now, just a reminder, if you're not on the text list for this class, you can text the word morning to the number 87948. A lot of you are in the Zoom, so I know that you are already on the text list. And if you want to learn about stock options, you can actually text the word options to the number 87948. So text options to 87948, and I can send you information on what we're doing with stock options. We're doing a lot of different things. And also, just a reminder, the All Black National Convention, we're going to do it in Brooklyn next year. And we're also going to do a digital version of the convention. Our team right now is working to gather the speakers from the last convention, and we're going to do a digital version of the convention. So if you couldn't make the ABC, which was amazing, it was the largest convention we ever had. I heard, you know what, the president of Tuskegee was there, and I was so mad I didn't talk to him. Dr. Mark Brown, he's doing a great job down there, and I wish I could have talked to him, but there was like so many people there, I didn't get a chance to go speak with him. But you know, we're making progress in the world, right? We're making a difference. It's working, it's succeeding. And what I'm really loving is I'm seeing adjustments. Like I'm really seeing you all walk up and show me how much more money you have because of our conversations, or how the real estate you've acquired, or the businesses that you've started. The family, I talked to a family the other day that had a family business with the three kids and the mother and the father, and it was just beautiful to see that, because it's like it's because what you're seeing, you know, there's what they call a ripple effect. The ripple effect is how you can do something right. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, basically. The butterfly effect, let's talk about it like that. It's basically where you do something small now that you don't think is going to have make a big difference, but it has a massive effect across space and time. You know, so I just start a little business because I lost my job, and then my child is spending more time with me, and then they learn the business, and then next thing you know, 50 years later, it's $1 billion company. You know, these little ripple effects are going to be massive. So I encourage you to remember the ripple effect. Don't just look at what you actually have in front of you. Look at what that can become, what that grows into. Everything grows over time. So think about that very carefully. All right, so let me share something else with you. I saw something really funny on, I put it on my Instagram. I'm gonna pull up the screen because I just thought it was worth looking because it's funny. All right, so let me pull this up. All right, here we go. This is apparently a study. I gotta go find out the nature of the study, like who did it and the details. But check this out. It says a man that is 5'4" must earn $220,000 more than a 6 foot man to have the same amount of dating options. A 5'8" man has to earn 138,000 more. The study by the University of Chicago shows. How crazy is that? Like, I gotta look it up. I'm gonna look up this study and look up the details. But they're basically saying that the shorter you are, the more money you have to attract the same woman. Now, I'm gonna ask the ladies, do you think that that's true? What do y'all think? Does having more money make the man like equal to the tall guy, or is that just a bunch of BS? Or what do y'all think? I don't know. It's really interesting. I just this stuff like that, it just fascinates me because I just never really thought money was that. I knew money was important, like I wanted to have it, and so I studied money and mastered money because I figured that's the best way to get something is to study it, but I did not know how much of an impact it had on relationships. I mean, I did, you know, it's really like something where you're just not even, you're like, yeah, of course, you know, yeah, here's some money, we got money for whatever. And then you see people having these dramatic reactions. Like you buy, like I don't know, like when I was single, we go on a date and I would, you know, I wasn't gonna take you to Burger King. I'd say, oh, you want to go to Ruth Chris? Okay, let's go to Ruth Chris. And next thing you know, this lady's fawning all over me because we went to this steakhouse where the bill was $120. I didn't think much of it. You know, I was like, wow, she suddenly likes me all of this is cool. You know, but it was strange. I just didn't understand it. And I think that it's interesting, right? So I would say that at the very least, I think it says that for men to sort of maximize their opportunities in mating and dating, I think that learning money is a great way to do that. The Chris Rock movie, where the guy, the boss came in and told Chris, he said, it was called I Think I Love My Wife. He said, you can lose women chasing money, but sorry, you can lose money chasing women, but you'll never lose women chasing money. And so I think that black boys, maybe, if your goal is to compete and be successful in life and whatever it is, like I think studying and understanding economics is important, but also economic responsibility is important. Like what I've noticed is that really smart women don't like men who are financially irresponsible. Like that can really anger women because not all women. I'm not stereotyping. I don't want to sound that way, but a lot of women really have a big issue if you have extreme financial incompetence. And I think that's a big deal. But I also think that on the other side, I've noticed that men who have money, they can sense, they can pick up on women that really like money, that really want their money. And so sometimes they might use the money, like dangle it to attract what they want, but not actually share anything with that person. Or they can just spot a gold digger from a mile away. So that was actually, my personal experience. I could tell pretty quickly if there was a woman that would really wanted access to what I had, and that would make that put you on the defense. And so what ends up happening is the woman that gets all your money is the one who either has her own money or is focused on other things, right? So it's kind of a funny type of situation. But I don't know. I wanted to ask you all about that. I just think that's interesting. I was like, oh, okay. So if I learn how to make money, I could become a 7-footer. How about that? How cool is that? All right. So one more thing I'll share with you. This is something that also is on the Instagram. So why not let's just hang out at the gram. This is stuff that this was something that I thought was somewhat controversial, and I wanted to address this as well. And I'm trying to remember if I shared this already. Let me know if I already shared this, but I'm gonna share it anyway because I thought it was pretty heavy. This is from a guy named Wallow. He has a really great radio show called $1 Million Worth of Game. He spent some time incarcerated, and I appreciate what he does. I did have an issue with some of what he said here, and I'm going to just play this for you so you can check it out. Here it goes.
Us. Oh, I'm black. No black people. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Kill that shit. Either you got a good business or you don't. All that shit, don't nobody want to hear that shit. That's a hustle. Support me because I got a black business. Is your restaurant clean? Is the food good? Do you got consistent cooks? Is the material on your shit good? Stop doing that. Oh, you support the white people? No, I support consistency, baby. Yeah. Well, fuck about what color you is. I'm gonna spend my money. That paper, I'm gonna spend them millions where the fuck I want to spend it at. Whether it's Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do while I'm here. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, I ain't gonna be finessed off some black shit. But one thing about it, 70% of you motherfuckers is not going to make it. I'm not no motherfucking fake ass motivational speaker that talk this dumb shit. I'm the #1 nigga in the country. You know why?
I got a question. Have you ever heard an Asian person say something like this about Asian people? That they don't give a fuck if you're Asian. They're gonna go give their money to white people because they found a bad Asian business. I don't think so. I dare you to go find that video. Instead, what they do is they say, if your Asian business is not good enough, I'm gonna tell you how to make it better, but then I'm also gonna find another Asian business to support. Everybody agrees that quality black businesses are important, that it's important to have a quality business. And to make the assumption that most black businesses don't have quality is a racist assumption. White people already boycott black people. White people already completely ignore black businesses for the most part. So when black people start talking like this, that's not helpful. That's very dangerous because people support their own. But supporting black does not mean you have to support every black-owned business. But it does mean that blackness makes a difference. If one black-owned business doesn't do a good job, you find another one. If you ain't happy with one situation, you find another black situation. But to say, I'm going to white people because y'all niggas ain't shit, or I'm the #1 nigga in America, that right there tells you everything you need to know about our mentality and that why we're not able to build wealth because we limit ourselves and hurt each other. That's it.
All right, so I want to apologize for the profanity. I forgot how much cussing there was in the video. Even I was cussing, and so he, I guess he brought out the cussing side of me. I get it from my father. But the point there was that I let me ask you this: give me a yes if you agree that black-owned businesses should aim to have quality. Give me a yes if you agree that it's important that your restaurant is clean. Give me a yes if you agree that it's important to serve your customers well. Give me a yes if you agree that it's important to deliver on your economic commitment to the customer or to anybody else. Okay. So the thing that's interesting to me is there's thousands of you right now who all agree with me that quality it doesn't even need to be said. Right? We know that black businesses are supposed to have quality, and most of us know many black businesses that have high quality. right? Like, in fact, give me a yes. I like to ask simple questions, get simple answers so we can figure out what we're thinking about, what our conclusion is. How many of you know black-owned businesses that are excellent at what they do? Give me a yes. There's a ton of them. There was a ton of them at the All Black National Convention. There was a ton of them in the Black Business League. There's a ton of them in the Black Chambers of Commerce. We had the president of the Black Chambers of Commerce, the National Black Chamber of Commerce at the All Black National Convention, National Business League, right? There were tons of them at InvestFest. So what I'm trying to really understand is why there might be some of us who feel that when we're talking to Black people, we have to start with the lowest common denominator. Like what is it about being Black? And I think I know what it is, but let's talk about this. What is it about being Black that makes you start the conversation by saying, I don't give a damn if you're Black. If your product sucks, I'm not going to support you. Um, this is not controversial. All of us agree. If a business sucks at what they do, in fact, give me a give me yes or no. How many of you would keep giving your money to a business that was terrible at what they did, that didn't deliver the product, that that where they peed in your Kool-Aid, and called it iced tea, like where they didn't where they had horrible customer service. Would anybody in this room support a black-owned business that was completely violating its customers? And no, none of us would. So what's there to debate? Where does the yelling come from? Where is and I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes from racial stereotyping. Racial stereotyping. And white people aren't the only ones who racially stereotype Black people. Black people do it all the time. I like this guy Wallow. He's got a good show. I think he does a good job of giving great advice to young men that need it. He talks to them about avoiding the street life and all that, and I love that. But, this guy has this show that I think white people probably wrote him a big fat check to make him famous. And then sometimes when that happens with Black people, they start to come back to the Black community and they start talking crazy to the Black people in the community who don't have the benefit of white privilege when they're trying to build whatever they're trying to build. They didn't make a deal with some major media outlet or some major corporation. They're trying to freaking sell their damn product and doing the best they can and getting no support from anybody. Seriously, I mean, what you got to realize is everybody's talking about things like boycotting Target. We're going to boycott Target because Target got rid of the DEI. I'm not against that. Sure, okay, go ahead and do that. But what I need you to do after you finish boycotting Target is I need you to explain to me why you keep boycotting Black-owned businesses. Black people boycott Black-owned businesses. White people boycott Black-owned businesses. Asian people boycott Black-owned businesses. And it comes from the reputational issues that you have to overcome when you're Black and you create something that's for Black people. And it may also, it's certainly not helped when you have prominent Black people who say, I don't care if you're Black, I'm gonna spend my money wherever I want to spend it because I don't care if you're Black. Well, I would probably advise the brother to stop that, but maybe he's not. He doesn't have to listen to me. But let's just be clear. I care if you're Black. Sure, I need you to have quality. I need you to step your game up. I'm not going to keep buying from you if you don't do your job, but I do care if you're Black. And in addition to that, if I'm Asian, Asian people care if you're Asian. Jewish people care if you're Jewish. White people care if you're white. So I would say to everybody that's listening, look, I'm not here to like sort of make this into like a battle or anything, but there's better ways to talk about Black-owned businesses where you start with the assumption that there are thousands of Black-owned businesses that are doing an excellent job that are not getting the support they deserve. Instead of pointing to all the businesses that haven't quite met the mark, why don't we point to all the businesses that have? Why don't we start there first? There are so many people in our community that are doing excellent work who are getting no support whatsoever. I was one of the best students in my field when I studied finance, and you have no idea how many people Look at my whole PhD, ignore it, and just think I'm just some dumb nigga who's just running his mouth on the internet. Oh, you scamming. You talking about teaching finances. You must be scamming. I'm like, what are you talking about? My dissertation's on the internet. Everybody I was trained by went to the University of Chicago, which is considered almost like the Vatican of finance. Everybody on my dissertation committee, they've written seminal work in this field. What are you talking about? So you're telling me that because of the color of my skin, somehow I got to be thrown in the toilet as if somehow something's wrong with me, when the reality is that I worked my ass off to be the best I could be at what I do. And it's not just me. It's not just me. There's thousands of you in this room right now. Thousands of you who worked your butt off to be the best dentist you could be, to be the best social worker you could be, to be the best teacher you could be, to be the best carpenter you can be. I know this because I meet you. You're good at what you do. You're good at what you do, but unfortunately, you run into this ugly reality that because of racial stereotypes, there are white people and black people too who judge you based on the color of your skin. And so, at the end of the day, when we talk about racism, we need to have real conversations about this. Economic racism is absolutely devastating to the black community because that's trillions of dollars that ends up flowing to other people because somehow you think white people are wonderful. They have white people run businesses that give millions of people cancer. White people run businesses that have gotten millions of people addicted to opioids. The opioid crisis was caused by billion-dollar white-run corporations. What no black people running none of these pharmaceutical companies that were getting people addicted to drugs. White people have run businesses that give money to Israel so they can go blow up kids in Palestine. I mean, I can keep going. I can keep going. So I don't really understand this obsession with like, well, black owned businesses, they don't be having no good customer service and they be doing this and they be doing. Okay, there will never be a day where every black business owner is perfect. There will never be a day where every black owned business is doing everything right. A lot of businesses are going to make mistakes. All of us are going to make mistakes. We all do. I just I just went through a case study where McDonald's last year had onions with E. coli bacteria that killed some people, right? So even McDonald's is getting it wrong sometimes. So getting it wrong happens in business. Lots of businesses are going to mess up. Black people are not the only ones who are doing it. So when you paint a picture where you say, I don't care that you're black because being black means your restaurant won't be clean and you try to force me to support you. And I don't, no, when you have those conversations, those are low vibrational conversations. There's there's plenty of businesses out here that are damn good at what they do. And what's unfortunate is that when you're black, even black people, a lot of black people will ignore you. Why? Well, because a lot of them will say, well, yeah, you're black and yeah, you're doing a decent job, but there's a white guy doing a decent job. And because I don't see race, then I'm going to go and support the white guy and be proud of it and brag about it. And the problem though is that when white people see a solid black business and a solid white business, they will go support the white business. When Jewish people see your black business next to a good Jewish business, oh, they're going to go support the Jewish business. Why? Well, because they care that you're Jewish. In fact, again, let's remember this. If you go to the black neighborhood, you will find an Asian business, a Jewish business, a Vietnamese business, an Arab business. You'll see all these businesses from all these other communities. But then I want you to go to those communities and I want you to try to find even one black-owned business. You don't find black-owned businesses in Chinatown, but you see Chinese businesses all throughout the hood, all throughout black neighborhoods. They have businesses everywhere, but in their neighborhoods, we're locked out. That's because they do care about your ethnicity. They do care about taking care of their own. They do care about making sure that their people eat before everybody else eats. And you're definitely not going to go eat off of them. So this destructive mindset, it's slave mentality. That's what it is. I'm not even here to try to change this guy's opinion. His name is Wallow. He's probably, got enough support that he doesn't have to listen to people like me anyway. I'm just here to make sure that you hear a counter perspective. I'm just here to make sure that you understand the other side of that coin. So when you build that business, be excellent, And I see Nelly says I got tearful at the convention because I saw all the black excellence. Yeah, if you came to the all black national convention, there wasn't nothing but black excellence up in that room. I'm not saying every single person's perfect, but you saw people with tremendous skill, extraordinary businesses, pride, love, strength, unity, power. You saw black excellence up in that room. You saw just this you saw Martin Luther King's dream in that room. In fact, you saw a dream better than Dr. King's dream. I don't care about the dream about little white boys and little black girls holding hands, but I think he had other dreams that he was forming at the time that he passed. I wish he had lived another 20 years so he could have got some stronger dreams. But when he started showing up and saying, "We're here to pick up our check," and he started talking about economic justice, that was the dream that I could relate to. And in that room, you saw that dream. You had black millionaires and billionaires in that room. A billionaire from Africa wanted to meet with me, and I sat down and talked to him at the convention. So we're doing it, man. We're doing it, and all we have to do is keep building on it. So keep building on what you got. Believe in what you're doing. You have skill. You have the skill. If you've been coming to this class every day, you're learning what you need to learn. You don't stop going through life believing somehow that you're deficient or that you just don't understand what you need to understand. Keep doing better for sure, but nobody has it all figured out. I can tell you, the stuff that we talk about, the stuff that I can explain to you, most white people do not know these things. Most white people don't talk to a finance professor every day. So you have what I call black privilege. We don't talk about black privilege enough, but there are there are sort of these pockets of black privilege that we can create by standing on our love for each other, standing on our commitment to excellence, standing on our commitment to growth, building our own economies, building our own ecosystems, and believing, as Dr. George C. Fraser likes to say, that we are enough. We are enough. We are enough. All right. So anyway, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. I'm gonna let you guys go for today. I'll be back tomorrow. If you want to join the text list for this class, text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. And if you want to get a copy of my book, it's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's over this shoulder. Feel free to go to drboycebooks.com, drboycebooks.com. You guys made it into a #1 bestseller in the public finance category on Amazon, and I want to say thank you. And because everything we do is independent, I don't think that black excellence is something that America's not ever gonna. I think America's always gonna be afraid of black excellence because there are too many people that make money off of black mediocrity. There are too many people that make money off of black ratchet behavior. There are too many people that make money off black ignorance. So when you show up with black intelligence, black excellence, and black unity, you have to understand you're gonna have to fund the revolution yourself. The freedom is never going to be free. So I thank you all for supporting the book because ain't no white publishers really going to pick up stuff like this. Mainstream media doesn't want to pick up stuff like this, and I'm okay with that because I know that we are enough. Your support is enough. It doesn't. I don't need all them and all that. I don't chase all that. I chase you, I chase this, I chase us because we are in the sweet spot. We are the gold mine. We are the walking manifestation of our ancestors' dreams. And so by pouring into us, investing in us, focusing on us, we become strong. Do you agree with me? Give me a yes if you agree. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna get on out of here. Chanel, if you want to share the link for those who want to join the options class on Thursday, the link is in the chat. And I'll go ahead and I won't shut the Zoom down right away so that some of you that want to click on the link, you can. I don't know if Chanel is still here. So what I'll do is I think I got it right there. There's the link right there. So I put it in the chat. So feel free to grab it if you want to take a look. And I love you guys. Have a great day. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.